Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
The big empty chair was supposed to be Rob Chafe, but he is up to his eyeballs in amps. I know we keep saying that, but that's the only reason, genuinely, that he doesn't come.
Well, he's literally the only amp repairman left in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, like east of the Rockies, pretty much.
Well, maybe.
Yeah,
Just like Coors, you can't get it east of the Rockies.
you can, you just don't want it.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right. So, hey, everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We're thrilled to death that you are listening to our show, despite your level of sickness or despite for the weather or love of the weather, or wherever you might be doing.
Yeah.
But we can assure that you will enjoy this because we've got a very special guest, a return guest.
Yes, if you will.
From the Wayback Machine. Which episode, Tony?
116.
Yes. So this person put a lot of faith in us very early on, and we appreciate it. Person who put faith in us very early on, then we appreciate. Who are you?
My name is Roman Belonozhko. It's my last name. It's a Ukrainian last name.
There you go.
And I run the company Shnobel Tone, and I'm excited to be here with you guys.
Fantastic.
We're excited to have you.
Yes. Well, you were a great guest the first time, so don't mess it up.
I'll try.
You got big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
The last guy
that
from
first guy
Shnobel Tone.
he was great. Let's get him back.
We're going to try to hit 2 million downloads.
I love it.
Or listens.
Nice.
We were able to catch up with Roman. It was kind of fun because we turned this corner in this area that we talked about NAMM before, and since then, quite a lot of the other people have also been basically saying the same thing. So we're not the odd mans out here.
Copycats.
And anyways, we were coming down an aisle, and I turned, and I was like, oh, hey. It was great to see you, man.
Absolutely.
That was a real treat.
Yeah, it was awesome. Pleasant surprise. Yeah, you guys just showed up out of nowhere.
Yeah. I think you had basically just barely started setting up, as a matter of fact, that day. I think we caught you kind of early.
Was it the first day? Yeah, I had a little bit of a later start, and I was kind of, because I think, everybody's getting to NAMM, and I kind of miscalculated the traffic a little bit. Yeah. So, yeah. Still, it was great to see you guys there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Indeed. And you were kind enough to send us off with a really fantastic pedal. We were very, very happy with that.
Yes.
So we're going to talk all about that and all kinds of great stuff once we dive into the show. So, I got a couple of announcements real quick.
I have an announcement.
And, okay, Tony, you go ahead.
Okay. I would just like to remind everyone that Paul McCartney's bass has been returned to its rightful owner.
I did the right thing.
Yes. Thank you, Todd. I'm glad you gave it back to him. No,
Yes.
It wasn't Todd. It was stashed away.
I traded him for tickets.
Yeah, stashed away in somebody's attic for over 50 years. Disappeared in 1972. This was his original Hofner, 1961 Hofner Beetle bass, a.k.a. 500/1, a.k.a. violin bass.
Yes.
That went missing in 1972.
Wild.
And recently, within the last year or two, he put out, a request for people to help find it because he wanted it back. And it was kind of unique.
I'd really appreciate it if you'd give me back my bass, man.
Yeah, something like that. Jeez. He's a little more posh than that. Come on.
That's true.
So, but I thought that was really cool. I mean, I figured with him putting out a request and other people looking for it, it was bound to turn up. And luckily, it was still somewhat playable. Someone had converted it over the years to right-handed configuration, which would be the ultimate insult to Paul McCartney, I guess.
Yes.
But anyhow, it's back. I think they're going to probably have to do some restoration work on it. But when I saw recent pictures of it, it looked like the edges were darker than I remembered earlier photos of it. But who knows?
Yeah.
But it's cool that he's.
Well, you know what happened when he got it back.
Oh, what's that?
I'm really glad I got my bass back, but it's all right.
If you can't see, I'm rolling my eyes right now. So,
yay.
get back to where you once begun.
The best UK accent.
You like that?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
thanks for being kind, Roman.
Well, you should hear my Vietnamese. It's amazing.
That's all I got.
Yes. We love when people join up.
Yes, we do.
Here at the Guitar Knobs. And we happen to have somebody that had done just that. And as we often do, we will ask them, hey, so what's up with you? And this is John Sebastian.
Ah, John Sebastian.
Yes.
From Love and Spoonful.
He joined up and he said, hey, thank you for the warm welcome. And we always ask him, so tell us about yourself. What do you have? And he says, my main gear of choice is the EVH 5150 guitar in the Poplar Burl. Looks really great and it rips. I am looking for a new amp, and Rob Chafe was nice enough to give me a recommendation in response to my recent email.
Nice.
He says his favorite part of the show is the 4 on the floor. We get that. See, now, I don't allow that to make me feel bad about the entire other, 50 minutes of content. But anyways, I love that people love the 4 on the floor. And he says, I like the intro, and I love, it's, a couple of seconds of that, and love learning about the new pedals that I previously wasn't familiar with. And that's the whole point. We just want to, swim in the ocean of guitarness that we may not know. I'm a poet.
Yeah.
In addition, I grew up in north central Ohio near Sandusky.
Yeah, there we go.
They make great breaks up there.
Yeah.
I have a
hey, Tommy boy.
I have a special place in my heart for all things Ohio, as do we. Over the summer, I reached out to Randy Parsons to order one of his Bat guitars. I used to work at a guitar center next to his shop back when he was in Seattle. Aha. I promised myself that I would own one of his guitars one day. It says he turned 40 last summer and then decided that buying a Parsons Bat guitar would be his midlife crisis purchase.
Nice.
Randy posted about your podcast when you interviewed him, and I've been hooked ever since. Well, be still, our beating hearts. We do appreciate that. I decided to become an executive producer on Patreon because you guys are doing something that I appreciate so much and I'm very interested in. With so much trash out there, it is important to support all the good stuff. And the giveaways, of course.
Well,
keep the good up the good work. Well, thanks, John. Hey, speaking of giveaways.
Oh brother.
Man, I tell you what. We're going to be giving away 2 of these books that Tony and I really enjoy. They're hardcover, and they are the Les Paul 70 Years, the definitive history of rock's greatest guitar, with treasures from the Gibson vaults. This is by Julian Bitoun. Very, very cool book.
Yeah.
So we're going to give one to an executive producer, and we're going to give one to a grand poobah.
Nice.
Yes. So be looking for that about this time that that you get this, or shortly thereafter.
Yes.
It'll come.
Substantial penalty for early withdrawal.
Yes.
No promises.
Indeed.
made or kept.
So that's super duper fun, and we have other stuff we're going to be giving away. So there you go. Thank you for supporting our show, everybody. All right, let's get into what's going on this week. We're going to check in with Tanya Bolonsky,
yes,
the Polish Prince of Youngstown.
That's
as I introduced him to Roman.
Yes,
and then we're going to check in with our good friend Roman.
Well, thank you, Todd, for that lovely introduction.
Yes,
I look forward to your wordsmithing every time
Roman,
we get together.
While he's talking, you want to have a call on the phone and we can just chat about other stuff.
I see how this works. Damn,
go ahead.
Well,
no, I want to hear what he has to say.
Thank you, Roman.
At
least
one of us.
Oh.
Go.
Remember, I'm on steroids right now. So anyhow, last time we got together, I was talking about the Epiphone Newport bass that I had ordered as a scratch and dent. Because I have the 3 of the guitars: the cornet, the Wilshire and the Crestwood.
Yes.
And I thought it would be fun to have a short scale bass to go along with that. Well, it came in, and yeah, there was a little ding on the back and some scratches and stuff. That was fine. But and this is the reason I'm bringing it up. I actually ended up sending it back. But whenever, and this is a tip to all listeners, and this is one of the first things, excuse me, that I do.
Tony's got bronchitis, everybody, by the way. Sorry.
I get all worked up about this
Yes.
now. And this is something that a lot of people don't do, but it's usually one of the first things that I do. Take off the truss rod cover. Make sure the truss rod works.
When you buy
any instrument, anything. I always double check because
if it doesn't, then you
can't make adjustments.
Yes.
In this case, whoever had this instrument before decided it would be fun to round off the inside of the truss rod nut, and so you put the wrench in, and it just spun.
Oh, no.
And so that's, I can live with scratches and I can live with dings and things like that.
Yeah.
But if I can't adjust the neck.
And this was a scratch and dent?
It was a scratch and dent.
So it was sold as new?
Well, it was sold at a significant discount.
Yes.
But
by whom?
This is from Zounds, Z-Z-O-U-N-D-S.
That is really unfortunate.
So I contacted Zounds, and much to their credit, they said, "Oh, we never noticed that." They sent me a return label. They're crediting the money back, but it's just a word of caution whenever you're buying new, used, whatever.
So they're going to send you a Zach Wild ESP. Is that?
No, they're sending back cash, all in quarters. No, just do that one thing, and just to make sure, and if you get the truss rod wrench in there, turn it both ways. Make sure that it feels smooth and it isn't maxed out.
Yeah.
Or
don't
anything.
pop the fingerboard off.
Yeah, well, you don't want to do that either. But I mean, I've had any number of guitars. Sometimes people are sometimes not as honest as they should be, and they'll just put the truss rod knot in there and
ne'er do wells
and cement them in. I've actually had one or two guitars where people have cemented in the truss rod.
Rasputins.
Yes. Wow. So just be careful. But it's a very easy thing to do to check, and it's a smart thing to do. So
yes,
that's my tip for the day.
Philistines. All right. So let's check in with Roman right now.
I think
Roman,
that would be good.
Tell us what's going on in your music world this week.
So after the NAMM show, that was pretty fun. I'm always kind of browsing Marketplace, Facebook, and in the Los Angeles area pops up a 1967 Vox Spitfire guitar.
Oh, cool.
Ooh.
I think that's what it's called, Spitfire. Yeah. And I mean, I've never really even seen one, but I really like the look of it. And it was a really good deal too. And I was like, okay, I'll come pick it up because I drove down to NAMM, so I had a car. And turns out he has like a 63 or 64 Vox AC30 top boost for sale as well.
And you're a Vox guy.
And yeah, I've never had an old one. I've only kind of had the like 90s ones. I have a couple of them. And yeah, so that was so cool. I came into the guy's place and I plugged it in and I was like, you know what, let's make a deal. And we did it.
You got both?
It was a nice Englishman. Yeah, I got both.
Oh, man. Was it a Fawn AC30?
No, it's kind of an ugly one. If somebody really molested it. And only it's like I say, it's got a face a mother. Only a mother can love or what?
Yes.
But the sound, I mean, it doesn't have the blue speakers or the silver ones.
Okay.
It's got some kind of Celestian Rolas in there. It sounds pretty good. I'll be like doing more videos with it on my channel and stuff. But I'm really like excited that I finally have kind of like a real Vox, and I'm really excited. So that's been kind of, the guitar was kind of like a bonus. I think the Vox was kind of my main thing that I got.
Yeah.
And
what a neat find.
So yeah, really excited about that. Yeah.
Super cool.
I've been eyeing these kind of old Voxes, and then like it just kind of happened so quick. My wife's like, "Are you sure about that?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Even if you're not, always say yes.
Oh, that's very cool. That's
So how's the playability of that Spitfire? It's kind of like a Mustang, isn't it?
It's actually
like an elongated Mustang.
If I remember, the bodies are really thin on them. So yeah, I mean, I guess it could be kind of like.
Actually, no. It's a Strat thickness of a body, and I think it's kind of Stratish thing. And the pickups are really low output. I don't know if maybe they're broken but the frets are pretty good, and it doesn't play like. I gotta check the truss rod, by the way.
Yes,
I haven't done that.
Well, that one should have a wagon wheel on the end, right?
Yeah, it probably does. I don't have it in front of me to look at it, but it's in a case. But yeah, that was like picking up like killing two birds with one stone right after NAMM. I was excited about that.
Is the pickguard shrunken on it?
It's the end of it is cracked.
Yeah.
Somebody tried to kind of glue some of it back, but
yeah, that happens.
It's not the most pristine condition. Like one knob is like not original, or two knobs are not original. I don't know which one's the original ones.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have the little whammy bar, but he says it goes out of tune real quick.
Yeah.
And
that's like just a basic Bigsby style kind of thing. If the pickups are bad, just a tip. Generally, Strat pickups will fit underneath those squared off covers, and they're about the same size. So if you need to upgrade them, but usually the original Vox pickups, I think those metered out at like 4 to 5K, so they were pretty low output.
I dig the body though.
Yeah, it's not like completely like weak where it's like unusable, but it when I plugged into the Vox, I was like, oh, either this Vox is really like nice and like you can play it at low volumes when it has a full sound, or this guitar. And then later when I plugged my other guitars in, I was like, okay, everything's fine with the Vox. It's just the Spitfire has low output.
Yeah.
But, they say that vintage low output thing. So I'm like, I'll roll with that for now.
Yeah. Or just throw some EMGs in there.
No, do not throw EMGs in there.
I kid.
Yeah. Whip out the router.
Yeah. Did it come with the, what's that term? That's the violin case, right? Is that this one, Tony? Is that what they call that?
Oh, the triangular case?
Mine came with a case that's kind of a interesting shape. It's like flat on the bottom, and it kind of has like a station wagon kind of shape to it. You know how it has like it's a sloping sort of.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep, same thing.
Oh, that's
we're all using all the wrong words to describe
all the different words, but the same case. That's cool.
Yeah. Nice. With gold velvet inside.
Yeah. It's got that
delightful.
velvety. I forget what color, but it's that color. Yeah.
Bronzy.
And it's a sunburst color.
Yes, like sort of a yes.
Yeah.
What's cool was the guy was English, and he was moving back to the UK.
Wow.
And I was like,
and you got a whole bunch of actual English cool stuff.
Yeah, from an English guy. He was so polite and nice. I was like, wow.
Yeah. Did you say,
if you happen to find my bass, I'd really appreciate it.
Paul was moving back.
Another English guy.
I had no idea he was in Washington.
yeah. He's in Tacoma.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's where my dad was born. So,
very nice.
What
What about you, Todd? What's going on in your musical world this week?
I was having some fun. I just had I was feeling bassy this week.
Bassy.
Yeah, and
like Count Basie?
Yes. I picked up my Jack Cassidy bass and had some fun with the Positive Grid Spark. I love playing along to things with that, so I just I just put in Stone Roses and I just played all the songs as they came up the best I could.
Nice.
Manny is one of my all-time favorite bass players. I really love his approach and the tone and everything he gets. So it's just cool. It was just playing a big and he inspired me to get that bass. Anyways, he came over and said, "Yeah, you should get that bass," and so I got it.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's nice that you and Manny get to hang.
I know, right? Yeah, he's got the same bass. Only I think the one that he toured, at least almost the final Stone Roses tour was it was chrome. It was like the front of it was like chromed out, like mirrored chrome almost.
Oh, back in the day, he toured with a Rickenbacker 4005 splattered paint
from John Squire. Yeah.
Yep.
Very, very excited about the Liam and John Squire things going on. Oh my gosh, I ponied up for the LP with the splatter, the splatter colors and everything. Good stuff.
Must be nice to have extra money.
Yeah, well, I'm robbing it from my kids.
Excellent.
They don't know it yet.
Excellent.
Anyways, all right, let's. You know what?
What?
Speaking of LPs,
Yes.
and Paul McCartney,
Yes.
and all these other things, you know what?
What?
Tour Gear Designs patch cables are the best things that you can get to hook up pedals.
Yes.
I don't know if you're aware of that.
Anything with a 1/4-inch jack.
Yeah, Roman, are you familiar with Tour Gear Designs patch cables?
I might have seen them, but I just never knew what they were called. Maybe
There they are.
Well,
there you go.
they're like this super compact, right?
Yep.
They're flat. Flat.
It's a ribbon cable
And with a very small end on it.
about the size of the actual diameter of the jack itself.
So roughly a little over a 1/4 inch.
Yes, it's amazing.
It's amazing stuff. And they're affordable.
We swear by them. They come in all the different lengths,
All the
Tony.
lengths,
Yes,
all the shapes.
From 3 inches to like 2 feet.
There's an S shape and a C shape. And they come
Actually,
in
longer than 2 feet. Whew. It's crazy. I think they have a
85
5-foot
feet.
cable.
They
I'm
have
not sure.
maybe over 1,000 feet.
It might be.
Yes.
Anyways, they, can't say enough about them. We got box full. I got to get some more because, I'm plugging things in.
Yeah.
Go over to tourgeardesigns.com, put in the guitar knobs and the coupon code after you go to the shopping cart.
Fill up your shopping
You're
cart.
going to save
You're going to want
15%.
an extra 15%.
From the nice people at Tour Gear Designs. We thank you for supporting our Four on the Floor. Tony?
Let me get a little bit of this.
Sorry, we didn't tell you that was going to be loud, Roman.
1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor.
All right, Roman from Shnobel Tone. Why don't you give us your updated Four on the Floor from way back from episode 116. Give us your new one.
So I've been giving it some thought, and I'm like, yeah, you put that I can't use my own pedals,
This is correct.
which is what I've been using, the daily driver. So the next best thing for, let's say, my first overdrive, first gain stage would be, again, the King of Tone, as I think I said last time. And then that doesn't change. Do we include tuners in this or no? Or we're using clip-on tuners?
No, we'll skip the tuners. We go for the good stuff, if possible.
Yes. So King of Tone, I still got mine.
Yeah.
Tempted to make a quick buck, but
Ooh, yeah. Well, you can turn that.
One for a video. I might need one for a video, later down the road, and I'll be like, shoot, I just sold it and I gotta buy another one. But so yeah, King of Tone, because it's got the 2-in-1, I can kind of create like a second stage overdrive between the two channels there.
For those that may not be as familiar with the King of Tone, what does that do for you?
So it's a Blues Breaker based overdrive, the Marshall Blues Breaker, and is it, what's his name? Analog Man. Is it Bob or
Mike?
Yeah. So Mike. I'm sorry. He said he used that as a platform, and then he tweaked the circuit to where, to me, like I love using it on low gain. Mm-hmm. And it just gives you that, edge of breakup, and it doesn't have those like kind of drawbacks of the original one, but it gives it kind of just the right amount of drive. And I mean, it's a different story when you crank it up. It does get kind of thinner, and the mids come out a little bit too much for my taste. But for like that kind of low drive, and what you can do if you're fortunate to be on this 5-year or 6-year wait list, you can specify for one of the sides to be low gain, or even both sides. So I highly recommend, if you're getting one, get at least one side with a low gain option. And what that does is it gives you more like cleaner sounds with like hot pickups. So like humbuckers. So because the high gain one is like the gain all the way down, and you're still like going to be like kind of mid, territory in the gain range. So it doesn't clean up as well. So I really like that pedal for that. And so, to be honest, I use my daily driver, which you guys have one, right?
Yes, yes.
After the NEM show. And I really like, when working on my daily driver, I really like use that King of Tone as my sort of benchmark.
Got it.
So,
well, yeah, when you said that you described the King of Tone in especially the low drive channel, that's certainly something that I noticed on the daily driver too. We'll talk more about that, but yeah, I could definitely see some correlation there.
Yeah. So if it's not my pedal, I would choose King of Tone for my first one. The second one, I would go with a 1985 or 86, like a Proco Rat.
Okay.
A nice classic Rat.
That's with the 308 in it.
Sounds. Yeah, LM308 chip. The Truth.
Yeah.
So it's got a good kind of mid-range hump. So in the mix, it to me, the mid-range is kind of like a kind of cranked Marshall. It has that mid-range character to it, where it's like kind of like that Green Day, or just those kind of like, power chords, and you're just like, chugging through a Marshall. Not like heavy metal stuff, but like that mid-rangey kind of rock and roll stuff.
Dig it.
And it's great for solos. Yeah, it has that kind of a lift in the mid-range. By itself, it seems like it's a little too nasally, but in a mix, it like makes a lot of sense. So
like Tony.
So yeah, the 80s.
Yes, at this point, I am kind of nasally.
Yeah, and so that would be my second one. And then the third would be going into a delay. And again, I think it might be from last time, the TC Electronic Alter Ego X4 or times 4, whatever however they say it.
Sure.
So it's the TC Electronic
that's the
Alter
big one,
Ego
right?
pedal with this one with the 4 switches. And it can do 3 presets, and I don't know, I still love that pedal ever since I got it. Whenever they came out, I just love the really warm quality of the repeats, and it does all the stuff I need. Been using it for a long time. And then I would go into a reverb pedal as the fourth one, and I would probably go with like a RV7, the Hardwire RV7. It's kind of their smaller pedal. It's stereo if you run 2 amps.
Yeah. Those are the ones that look very, very late 80s or early 90s, I guess it would have been, right? It kind of has that brushed aluminum like bit on the front.
Knobs, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have and it said that the algorithm was licensed by Lexicon. And again, also, it doesn't have like this really expansive reverb, or it's not like crazy ambient. But the plate setting on there is, again, in a mix, with a good delay setting, it like just makes your guitar just sound really big. So I really like that RV7. Again, by itself, it could sound a little like, like not as lush, but in a mix, in a band mix, it just makes a lot of sense. Gives you the right kind of frequencies on the reflections.
I like that.
Yeah. So
I've seen a couple of those used around. I've been tempted to dip into that. Maybe you've convinced me to do that the next time I see one.
Awesome. Yeah. They're not that expensive. And I think they're like a cool, pairing it with like a nice, like even for ambient stuff, you can like have a nice long delay, like on the Alter Ego. I could set like a nice sort of modulated, repeated kind of setting there on like, forget which one. It's either like the Copycat or the Echo Rack setting. And then when you add some of that reverb, it just, gives it like a really cool, like expansive sound. Nice. I should do more videos on that on my channel to show people how you can get like cool stuff with just, a couple of pedals that don't seem like that they're amazing, but with the right settings.
Yeah. Do you ever run your reverb earlier in the chain? Like even in front of like your drives? Have you ever tried that?
Yes and no. I make a stereo overdrive pedal. Well, it's kind of dual mono, sort of. The daily driver, I have a version that is, 2 in, 2 out. And I've done some videos kind of demonstrating how you can use like a pedal like that, like after a reverb. Because like a stereo reverb, you'd need 2 separate overdrives, for example, left and right. But like the stereo daily driver, you're able to like crank up the, drive and then when the reverb tails trail, it's just such a cool sound. I've experimented with it like that for like a video and maybe for a little bit of recording and stuff. But for like live, I kind of tend to gravitate towards the traditional sort of chain, like of having the reverb blast and the delay going into reverb. Nice.
Well, thanks for sharing that, man. There's a couple new things out of there, a couple trusty old ones. That's still cool. So let's get into some further discussion about what you have been up to. And if you wouldn't mind, just a brief, where can people find the things that you're doing right now, just in case they want to be looking while they're listening?
Yeah, so I guess first spot is my website, Shnobeltone.com. And I know sometimes even like on the gear page or something, people will write SCHNOBEL.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have the C, so it's SH. I kind of created the YouTube channel with the SHNOBEL. And so people, because it's like Chevron or like... any other word that start with a sh, it's a SCH. So Shnobeltone.com, and then on all the social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, it's just Shnobel Tone, and you can find my pages there, and just you can scroll through stuff and should have links to the site and all the products.
Awesome. Well, the first time that we had you on was really as a result of me watching so many of your videos on YouTube. You were actually an early entry into the demo world on YouTube, at least a fairly early entry, I would say. And you did it consistently, and you did it very well. You had good production. Like it was one of the first ones that like really caught my eye. I was like, okay, this guy's caring about what the production is. You're making good content. Obviously, there were loads of people that were doing all kinds of demo stuff, but I think you had a really solid approach to like what you wanted your brand to be, and you can see that in your website even still. It's like that carry over the white and the black and everything. And I really appreciated the content you were doing. And if I didn't say thank you before, I do want to say thank you now, because I've watched so many of those things, and I always learn a little something new, and it's great. And
you're welcome. And I'm glad that I was able to get into this through the YouTube space, and I've been doing it since 2011. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people do comment. They're like, "You're kind of the OG." I'm like, "Oh wow, the legend."
It's kind of weird to think about that people hadn't really, I guess, for lack of better terms, decided to like be a content brand that early. People were putting stuff up, but they're analog or not analog, but I just forgot the guy's name. Gearman dude. He was, he had like his little brand that and I don't even know if he's still doing that stuff. But anyways, that doesn't matter. Let's move forward. But when we had you on, so we're just going to move forward a little bit. When we had you on, you had just gotten the volume pedal with the tuner. You were just working that out. And so you didn't even have pedals yet.
Yeah, I did start modifying volume pedals in about 2015, and I was probably doing that for a few years then. We did the podcast.
Yeah.
And that's how I kind of got into the pedal building, is through the modification of the volume pedal.
Yeah.
The world's first volume pedal with a tuner built in.
And from what I remember, it was a little sticky going there with that brand. I think you did the first one with the Ernie Ball, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say sticky. It was an interesting time because I didn't, know like Ernie Ball and how they operated. Uh-huh. And I thought they would be very open to like collaborations, but apparently, they're another company that wants to make money, and it's totally fine. And so because I did send him a product, uh-huh. I got connected through another person to Brian and a few other people at Ernie Ball. And I thought, maybe they might collaborate or something, but they just kind of, worked on their own pedal that then later released. There was, I guess the sticky part was I wanted to create a few like more unique things to the volume pedals that they had. They only had the silver looking one and then the black 40th anniversary one.
Right.
And I was like, it'd be cool to have more colors, like a purple, a gold or something. And I would take them down to my local place here, and they would anodize them. And in that process, I was removing the name, because I had to like sand it down for the anodization. And I kind of like slowly, I was really excited about it. And so I was like really invested in, this kind of idea. And then when I posted them on my website, they reached out. And this is right before they launched their volume pedal with the tuner and stuff. Yeah, and they had all the same colors as I did. And I was just kind of doing this by myself. But, I did, like they said, like, you're removing our logo. We're okay with you modifying them. But, you can't remove the logo. And so
it's just like a mattress.
I guess,
That's right.
That's where it was. But they didn't like sue me or anything, and I totally understood that. Like, hey, like this is their pedal, and so I kind of got into it a little bit too far. But but it was a really like awesome springboard into what I'm doing now.
Right. Now, did you moved forward with the Dunlop one though, right?
Yeah, I did start modifying the Dunlop ones alongside the Ernie Ball ones. and Dunlop makes that little mini one, the DVP4, and it's kind of like a lot of people are trying to save space, have little mini boards and stuff, and that one to this day I still modify. That's the only tuner mod that I'm doing right now to a volume pedal, because there's still no. I have a feeling Dunlop is going to release something soon. Because
in purple?
It is a very popular. I don't know. Maybe I should start coloring them, and then they're going to start releasing them. But until they release them, I'll make the mods, and but I kind of do want to focus on my own products.
Yes. Let's get into that, because we went out last year to NAMM, and you had some family situation that you weren't able to attend, but your booth was manned by a consummate professional, and I was like, whoa, what's all this stuff? Roman, you've been holding out on us. You have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You've got 11 new offerings since we last talked. So why don't you, let's talk about that. Your number one that came out was the Daily Driver.
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah,
the NAMM show before the pandemic hit.
Yeah,
I debuted the Daily Driver. That was my first original pedal that I showed off at the 2020 NAMM show in California, and that was where I got started to go into the original pedals that I build. And it's a unique circuit. I collaborated. Actually, it's funny that it has so many similarities to the Klon Centaur in a way where, like Bill, he collaborated with another guy from MIT, I believe. Because Bill is not like a electrical engineer or like, I don't know how much electronics he understands, or in the 90s how much he did. But similar with me, I met a gentleman from Washington State here at a guitar show, and he was very, very knowledgeable. And, we kind of became friends, and he's like, I have this circuit, because I was like telling him I want to build my own pedals and start with an overdrive and have it be the best overdrive in the world. And because of my channel, I've demoed pretty much all the pedals, all the coveted overdrives. And, I still feel like that, I could contribute.
Sure.
And so I was very fortunate that
I think you said that to yourself 11 times.
What's that?
You said that to yourself 11 times, apparently.
Wait, 11? Where's the... Oh, okay. The 11 products.
Yeah.
And I'm very fortunate that it was like a unique circuit. I mean, to this day, because I'm not an engineer, to this day, I don't know, like, if it's a soft clipping, hard clipping, or if, I don't know if it's a hard soft combination. I don't know. When I was working on it,
it feels like a hard clipping to me. Actually, maybe almost in between that.
Yeah, it's in the middle.
It's It doesn't feel like as soft as a blues driver. But anyway, please go on. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you.
No worries. So it's a unique circuit, and so I'm like myself kind of appreciating the circuit like now, like more than ever, because what I explain to people now is, because I mean, circuit hasn't changed, but what now, like, I appreciate like how people are using it and what's happening, and just the beauty of it is that it's not like a copy of a Klon or a Blues Break or a Tube Screamer. It's a very kind of an intricate circuit, and what it's doing is, if the gain's all the way down, there's no signal, like there's no sound. So as you turn up the gain, it's kind of like a little amp, it starts feeding signal into the circuit. So as you go up in the gain range, it gets more and more like harmonically rich. Just it blooms kind of like, and so that's why we added like the low knob and the toggle switch to really, because as you crank the gain up, I think past like 12 o'clock, you start to really kind of feel that the bottom end starts coming out more.
Yep.
So you can kind of like, tailor it a little bit. And so it's a really cool circuit. And, and now I'm like, wow, like people are really appreciating this circuit. It's my kind of number one seller right now. And I'm really fortunate. I'm really blessed that it's a unique circuit and people are really like, they hear the difference when they plug in. They're like, wow, the harmonics and the touch sensitivity cleans up. And my other thing too with the top end, like I'm very picky on like, okay, a lot of people do complain that my demo videos sound thin and harsh. I've seen some of the comments on the gear page. Because it's kind of the nature of the Vox too. It my earlier recordings on the demos, I would have to say, like I do think they, some of them do sound a little harsher than I would like them to be. But in a mix, for example, like in a nice thick mix, when a guitar player's playing guitar parts, it's really important for the guitar to cut through. And the beauty of the Daily Driver and what I kind of worked really hard on is, and other people really appreciate the character of it, is people say it's very open sounding. Like the top end is really like open, but it's not harsh. It's bright and clear. And, and that just makes me happy because I worked so hard. Like I've tested it through all my amps and I wanted that top end to just have just the right kind of chime, but not harsh. And that comes through when people kind of dial it in. They're like, whoa, like this thing is so good. And I'm just like, man, I'm just, like I'm pinching myself. I'm like, I've kind of like, this is my passion that I started demoing pedals. And then I'm like, man, like I would love to build pedals and to, make a product myself to, and now I'm kind of on the other side of the, I don't know what the word is, but like I have other people demoing my products now. So, I started from this side and then now I'm on the other side. And so it's kind of really cool to experience both sides.
Yeah.
I noticed, because I tried this primarily through my AC-15 and I can now what you just explained makes a heck of a lot more sense because, I think through a different amp, it would definitely have some different characteristics, but Voxes naturally have kind of a little bit of a grind and top end shimmer to them. And this one doesn't over accentuate, like sometimes if you put a treble boost or something like that through a Vox, you can get a great sound, but it's maybe a little too brittle on the high end. This, I was really, really happy with this. I'm a fan of pedals that don't go too crazy. And what I found with the Daily Driver was you can dial in any number of tones and you do get an amp-like reaction to your playing. And especially, depending on where you put the settings. And now, through the Vox, it sounded great. I tried it through a couple of other amps, and it's I just think it's a great companion to really just about any amp that you might need just a little extra oomph out of.
Yeah. You took all the adjectives
awesome
that I was
hear.
going to use, Roman, by the way. So this is going to be a really short episode.
Well, enough about that. Let's move on to the next one.
No, literally. I'm looking at Tony, and Tony's nodding his head because I came back and I'm like, you're going to love this thing. And I told him all the reasons why. And those are all the things that you described. I can elaborate a little bit from my experience. I'm going from a humbucker into a Marshall Origin 50. What I ended up doing is I was running it straight, into the amp, and I liked what I was hearing, but I was trying to get a little bit even more body to it, and not that it's not necessarily lacking, but I just wanted to get it a little warmer. Going into the Marshall, and I put the Chase Tone secret preamp right behind it, in the mid position, and gave it some juice, and I was like, holy Moses, this is fantastic. Because the music that I'm playing, I've said it many, many times on the show, I want a very clear attack. I want to like, it's like a knife fight, not a battering ram. You know what I mean? And I really like how I could, if I lean into it, it really responded to the pick attack. So if I hit it hard, it responded. If I didn't, it's very much like an amp, like you just said. And I was so appreciative of that, because I don't like it when I'm playing pedals that just end up sounding like the pedal, I guess, for lack of better terms. So all the things, you did it right, whatever.
Good job. Here.
Yeah. Well, no. Okay. One more thing. The openness of it, that open high end. So one of the, again, Tony knows how I play, so I'll dig into the low strings, and then I like to rake the highs, like kind of get my Billy Zoom in a little bit there. And this allowed me to have a real precise attack on the low end. Even if I'm doing a palm mute, it's not too round, and it's not too thin, but then I could hit those highs, and they just rang out, and I was like, this is absolutely 100% staying on the board. There's no question about that.
Yeah, I might have to send you guys a few more.
Well, that's what I was going to mention.
So you guys don't fight over them.
Yeah. At the show, you showed us your new Daily Driver boost with the built-in boost pedal. And
yes,
I think you should maybe talk about that a little bit, because to me, that's kind of an all-in-one package where you can get the tonality out of the Daily Driver, but then if you're doing a lead or something, or you need a little more definition, you can pop the other foot switch and get that going.
Yeah, that was something I just released. Yeah, the Daily Driver and a boost, Clean Boost. That's one of my products too, the Clean Boost. And some people have been mentioning it to me. They're like, man, it'd be cool to have these 2-in-1. And, now's the right time. I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
And it does give you an order switch, so you can push the boost into the Daily Driver, and you can get even more tones, like it just kind of does something to like the circuit that just gives you kind of like a second channel, sort of, if you push the boost into the Daily Driver.
What I love about this idea is that you have you have this consideration of can I put it in front, can I put it in back? And since you made the Daily Driver, you're the one who's going to be the most critical about how it's going to work in both of those situations. So you're not putting something from another brand or something in front of that, which could sound great too. But the fact that you're already considering those things, if you like the sound of the Daily Driver, that's such a bonus.
Yeah. And like I said, a lot of people have the standalone boost, and they're like, man, like they just work so well together. Like, and so this Daily Driver boost is the same size as a regular Daily Driver. And I was able to, work my magic to keep the footprint the same, top mounted in and out jacks, and have that boost in there.
Yeah.
Super cool.
So that's really, I'm really proud of that. And still finalizing the circuit board. I've got a revision coming in that should be shipping next month. And, I would definitely love to get, one in your guys' hands as well. So because this is really cool that you guys have the pedal and it's not just me kind of like, guys, like, you know, this is an awesome drive, but you guys were able to like already play through it. That was cool. Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
It's the beauty of NAMM.
Yeah. It really is. Now, you have other overdrive pedals if somebody would need something maybe a little more.
I love drive pedals, so this is like drive heaven for me.
You have is it the horsepower? Is that the?
Yes.
And
the mid driver.
I love overdrive pedals too. Can never have enough of them. So I'm going to touch on something before we go on the other models.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, the kind of like the tack or the transparency you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's also another thing that I realized and learned to be really appreciative of this circuit is that attack of your string, even at higher gain settings. Yeah, you're saying like that's what it's doing, and I'm really like fortunate because of this circuit that attack is not lost. It's so you're saying like it doesn't sound like the pedal, but like, you know, so that's another kind of awesome thing of this circuit that it does retain the attack even in higher gain settings where you have tons of gain. It still kind of can get that kind of the pick attack on the string. Is kind of retained.
Yeah.
So,
without it sounding all compressed and stuff.
Yeah. Some of the Nashville guys are like, I don't hear that compression. I'm like, oh man, it's a bummer. Because, you know, it's not really supposed to compress too much. But, you know, it's not for everybody. But, I mean, you know, a lot of people like it. So
maybe they'll like your optical compressor then.
Yeah. So going into the other drives.
Before you do that, we've been talking about the pick attack and the openness and everything. And as I'm referencing this kind of stuff that that I play and how I expect that to sound. If you go, this is a semi-shameless plug, but if you go listen to the Valentinos, to the song "Come Closer," you will hear exactly the sound that I'm talking about, and that's the first song that I played at home on the Daily Driver. I absolutely nailed that tone. I was like, oh my gosh, this is the thing, because that took kind of a bit of a rigmarole to get to. So, anyways, onward and upward to the horsepower overdrive.
Yeah, I would put that like next, in line. So, pretty much, all of my drives are derived from the Daily Driver circuit. Even like I have a distortion pedal called the Ratatouille. Again, it's kind of a nod to the Rat, and people say, "Oh, is that the Rat circuit?" But you know, it has a kind of a Rat sort of aesthetic look to it a little bit. How the lines are on the knobs and stuff. I'm a big Rat fan because, you know, that's one of my 4 on the floors. But I kind of gave it a different voicing. You know, it's a different circuit. It's going to have a different voicing. But I tried really hard on the distortion pedal to, it's basically a Daily Driver without the low knob and without the toggle switch. That's my Ratatouille. So it's got tons of gain, like way more than the Daily Driver. And then the filtering is different. So I worked really hard to get that kind of ratty mid-range out of the pedal. And that one as well. Same thing, gain all the way down, you got nothing. And as you kind of start turning it up, you get kind of a more softer distortion. And then as you kind of really crank it up, and all the way up is kind of fuzzy, like just really kind of spitty almost. And kind of the Rat does a similar thing, but this one is in just a little different way. I'm really, proud of that one. So if I, like a 4 on the floor, if I couldn't, if I could use my pedals, the Rat would be replaced with my Ratatouille.
Got it.
But, we have to use other pedals.
Rules is rules.
Yeah. And so then, going to the horsepower. So Daily Driver is kind of like a pedal that if somebody's like, hey, like what pedal should I get from you? And I'd be like, dude, just try the Daily Driver. It can do a lot of things. And then, so the horsepower was something that I was like, like I can do more stuff with the Daily Driver. Like if I take the gain down a little bit, so giving it like more cleaner headroom, and I give it a lot more output. So what you could do is you could really kind of, to me, a clon, the best clon sounds are like when the gain is up, maybe like, 9 o'clock. It like for Strat pickups or something, it kind of gives it a little bit of that mid-range thickness, but you're not really like hearing the overdrive completely, because on the clon, like when you crank the gain, it gets really mid-rangey. And I mean, some people use it like that, which is fine, but I think the kind of the sauce and the magic of the clon is where the gain is pretty low, and it just gives you like a thickening kind of a character to the sound, especially like single coil Strat stuff. So that was my kind of thing with the horsepower. Again, like the play on words kind of suggests the clon-y kind of thing, but and also it has more horsepower than the Daily Driver. It's got more output, like twice or 3 times as much on the volume knob. So you can really push your amp like decently. And if you crank the gain all the way up, you can like collapse the front end of your amp. So when you guys were at the NAMM show last year, I wasn't there, but the guy that was helping me out, Nicholas, he was showing people like, hey, you want to play Gypsy Fuzz? Like crank this up.
Yeah.
And then it's like fuzzy, slamming the front end of the amp. That's not really how I would use it, but like that thing, like where the gain is lower, you got kind of this clean, kind of dumbly, like kind of thicker thing going on with the sound. So that's the horsepower, it's a kind of a different voiced and less gain Daily Driver.
Got it.
And then after the horsepower, I have the mid driver. Again, same circuit as the Daily Driver, but a little bit more gain on tap. And then again, voiced differently to have kind of a more pronounced mid kind of thing. And what I've noticed is that it's really great for like similar thing like the horsepower, but in a more higher gain sound, like for leads and stuff. It just really it's not like a Tube Screamer mid-range bump, but it's a little bit of a different frequency, but it has that effect of where if you were to turn on a different pedal, you're like, oh, where's that juice gone? Like I want my thickness back, and that kind of cut through quality to it. So mid driver, like the mid-rangier version of the Daily Driver.
That's interesting. That maybe that's kind of like to a degree one of the things that I was maybe trying to do with the Chase Tone secret preamp thing after trying to get a little bit of that mid back into that. Interesting. Very interesting. So many options you've created here. It's a palette. It's a smorgasbord.
On my yeah, you kind of, have to have them all,
Well, and, speaking of having
tone.
them all is like, one thing I applaud, and again, I think you have a really strong brand. All these pedals, they're beautiful to look at. They're in their simplicity. And it's clear that you have thought about like how do all these things work together, and there's strength in that. You're buying the wine for the wine, not the wine label at this point. At least that's one way to look at it. But very cool.
Well, thank you. Yeah, the aesthetics. If nobody's seen my pedals before, in a way, because I build these all out of my garage, very small operation. and I do build each one. Like, people say, oh, like, there's no more boutique builders, or they're like, practically non-existent. Like, I think, I consider, I'm not like marketing it like that, but it is boutique. It's all hand soldered. I don't get the boards already like with machines, placed, surface mount components. Everything is through hole, and it's cool that like, I can make changes really quick if something's not working or something. Like, I can just like, hey, like, let me change this out. Somebody's requesting something. So for the daily driver, actually, the output is not as quite as high as some people wanted it. So like with humbuckers, for example, if they set their gain in like a lower range to like where it like doesn't with hotter pickups, so where it doesn't have as much gain, and they're kind of getting like a very like edge of breakup, they didn't have enough volume to like get it back up to unity level. So I would kind of modify a couple of people's daily drivers to give them more volume, and it's easy to just pop out a couple of resistors, and put different values. And so for the boost daily driver, I already did the higher gain mod already kind of in the circuit. Nice. And actually, I haven't announced this, but for all the daily drivers now, they all have like this newer kind of higher output. So I was going to say, the ones that I had at NAMM were still like the standard ones.
Yeah.
So if you guys ever feel like you need a little bit more and, I can, ship it in just one day. It's just like, I'll change up a couple of resistors and send it back out to you guys.
Awesome.
Or maybe it's another excuse to like send you guys some more drivers.
We like those kinds of excuses.
Yes, absolutely. No doubt. And we'll be demoing. I'm ramping up my, I've got a little bit more time on my hands, so I'm going to be ramping up doing more actual like demos, not hardcore hour-long YouTube demos, but at least some on our Instagram platform.
Nice. Yeah, and so the aesthetics again, I kind of forgot to talk about that. Yeah, so I laser etch the top panel that goes on top of the pedal, and it's all done here in my garage too. So I don't have any fancy like screen printing and kind of limited to kind of this look sort of. So I just kind of doubled down on it. And what's cool is a lot of people who walk by at the NAMM show and they're just like, whoa, like this looks cool. And I'm like, wow, okay, like this unique look.
Yeah, it almost has kind of a military look.
Yeah. It looks like an instrument panel on a plane.
Yep.
Yeah, and I love, studio gear and like the older stuff, and some of it is inspired by that, like the Universal Audio kind of like their, mixing console, or their standalone preamps. It has like the little black panel, the white outlines and stuff like that. So again, it's one of those things that like I don't have anything else, so that's kind of became my thing.
Yeah.
And it gives me a unique kind of thing as well. Like it does stand out. A lot of people are like, man, thank you for not putting those crazy graphics on these pedals. They're like, I hate those. I'm like, okay, everybody likes different stuff, but it definitely is a cool like eye catcher, like at NAMM as well.
Yeah.
That people like, they didn't even hear the pedals yet, but they just like are attracted to the look of it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wow, that's cool. I'm doing something right.
Well, and it's one of those things where you look at something and, we've talked about, the wine label shopping or the beer label shopping and the disappointment sometimes you can have in those things. But I think it's whenever you can pick something up and go, I haven't played this, but I can tell without question there's a lot of thought into this and there's quality into the build. And, that goes a long way for a lot of people. So I think you've done that very, very well.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I did have a few people like mention how they turn the knobs. They're like, wow, this is good quality. And I'm like, oh, is it bad quality out there? I mean, like, this is all I know. Like, I work with these things, day in and day out.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is definitely intentional. Like I'm going to, until there's no more parts and I have to like build them in another way, but I'm going to continue to do this in this way.
I dig it.
No made in China stuff. Just, keeping it US.
I like it, man. I like it. Well, it was a great way to wrap up our encounter when we were at NAMM, and I was really happy to have you back on the show. I'm very excited about the things you're doing, and please, everybody, not only go check out these pedals and get yourself one or a few, but also make sure and check out the content that Roman's doing on YouTube, because it's really great stuff. Great playing, great insight, real honest approaches and answers, or not answers but details about the gear he's playing, and a good variety of it too. So well done. All right.
Well, thank you very much.
We're going to take a little trip real quick here.
Yes, we're going to hop in the old El Camino, drive
sir.
upwards of northwest United States.
Indeed.
All the way. We're going all the way if we can avoid the atmospheric rivers that are plaguing our friends in California right now.
Yes.
Gotta love a nice atmospheric river, don't you?
Yes.
So we're going to hop on in and head up, and what are we going to do?
I don't know. You're going to tell me.
Okay, I'm going to tell you this.
Yeah.
So at this point of the show, it's a little game we like to play called Would You Rather? Ding. That's very nice. That's a nice touch.
Yeah.
This week's Would You Rather is brought to us by Bob Crouch.
Bob Crouch. Bob Crouch is a great guy. He's a great contributor.
Yes. So here's how it goes. All of your guitars are at the shop, and you've been invited to play a show at the very last minute. You're in desperate need of a guitar for the evening. Your somewhat eccentric friend builds homemade guitars and tells you that he has 2 in their workshop for you to choose. So you head on over. The door opens, and you see the outline of 2 guitars in the darkness. You can immediately tell that one of them is shaped like an Ibanez Iceman.
Oh, okay.
The other is shaped like a BC Rich Warlock. 2
Okay.
excellent choices. When the lights come on, you see that the Iceman is built with all of the features.
The Iceman cometh.
Yes, it is. It has all the features and finishes to mimic Brian May's Red Special guitar.
The Iceman?
The Iceman has all
So
the...
it's an Iceman-shaped red special.
Yeah, you might say that. So that would be
That's weird.
the Burns Trisonic pickups, the crazy bridge,
Yeah.
and the tremolo with the motorcycle springs, and the switches, the 6 switches.
Now, some, when they walk in and they say that, they might say, they just got to get out. They just got to get right out of here. Anyways, go ahead.
Thank you, Todd, for your ever-present niceness. The Warlock is built with all of the features and finishes of Rick Nielsen's checkerboard Hamer Special. So that would be 2 humbuckers, checkerboard pattern,
Yeah.
but it's a Warlock.
EMG.
Why not? Let's just throw some EMGs in there. Some checkerboard EMGs.
Checkerboard EMGs.
So the question is, which of these 2 wonderful instruments are you going to take out on stage with you after you punch your friend in the I was almost said in the nose, in the face?
I haven't heard that since 6th grade. Yeah.
Yes.
Tony's even cheesier than normal right now.
Oh, yes.
Chest.
After you punch your friend in the arm or the nards for building such nonsense.
Yes. Wow. Those are spectacular. That's pretty good. Tony,
Well,
what? Let's
to
hit you,
me,
then we'll go Roman, then me.
it's almost a no-brainer for me. In terms of...
I really wish you hadn't said EMGs.
Yeah.
This would make this much easier.
Yes, it would. Well, I think the Iceman, while it's an unusually shaped guitar, it is probably more comfortable to play than a Warlock. And I'm a big single coil fan, I like Trisonics. So with all the switches and different things like that, that doesn't bother me at all. So I think that's my option. I just won't touch the tremolo or anything like that because I'm sure it would go out of...
That would be a really interesting guitar to build for real. I mean, why not, right? Or like go a step further and go make an Explorer that look like the Red Special.
Explorer that look like a Red Special.
That look probably kind of wild. Or a Flying V.
Not enough room on a Flying V for all the controls and stuff.
Just put it in the back. Anyways.
So that's my choice. I'm going with that one.
Okay. Roman, what are you doing?
Oh, yeah. Same thing. I would probably gravitate towards the Iceman with the Brian May setup there. And again, does it have good action? Like, how's the strings?
Yeah, your friend is kind of eccentric, so there's no guarantees here.
Yeah.
We'll say for the sake of argument that both guitars play equally well.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably, single coil, through Vox AC30 with a daily driver. Can't go wrong.
Okay. Well, how about a daily driver boost?
Oh, even better.
There you go.
All right,
Todd, what are you thinking?
Well, just for the sheer spectacle of it, I got to take the checkerboard Warlock. Are you kidding me? Like, what a statement piece that would be. Holy moly.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, there would be a statement there.
Yeah.
Get off the stage!
Yeah, that would be...
That's the statement.
That would be awesome. I could do without the MGs, but whatever.
Well, why not? You know, they're quiet.
It's fine.
After all.
It'll be fine.
Thanks, Bob, for providing another interesting dilemma.
That was delightful.
Yes.
Tony, we got a few people to thank, and we got to let our friend Roman get on with his day.
Absolutely. So at this point of the show, oops, where did we go? There we go. I'm back.
Oh, can I make one more thing?
Yes.
Yeah,
if
sure.
I choose the Warlock, can I put the Gibson, those like super special humbuckers that they came out with?
Yes.
Jared's special humbuckers.
Jared will give you a deal on it.
Yes. $9.99.
Because I actually got a set. It's coming in.
Did you really?
I got a secondhand set. I overpaid a little bit, but I'm really, I want to try them out.
Yeah.
Well, if nothing else, the case is super cool that they come in.
Indeed.
But I'm sure they're going to sound really
back
good.
to you guys.
So, at this point of the show, Todd, there's a special group of people
He's ready
we
for
love.
football right there.
That's right. That's right, folks.
Yeah.
Can I just start over?
Yes, please.
I've been fumbling. Can I just start?
Yes.
So yes, Todd, at this point of the show, there's a special group of people we love to thank. These are our executive producers. Now, an executive producer makes this show possible. How do you become one? Very easy. Head over to patreon.com/the Guitar Knobs. Check out a couple different levels in which you can participate. Become a sponsor, a patron, a hero of the podcast. Each level comes with some very nice thank you gifts and opportunities to have giveaway winnings.
Yeah.
Ooh, yes. We got some coming up. But beyond that, there's one thing more. Todd, what would that be?
You get to have your name read on the thing.
Your name read on the thing?
Have it on the thing.
Trademark, Jared. So without further ado, special thanks to these executive producers. Vader and Pedals, John Halverson, Rick Calhoun, Trevor Gunberg, Elad Mizrahi, Mac D, Richard Kendall, James White, Motander Guitars, Anthony Gemalero, Bill Gola Guitars, John Esterly from Rare Buzz Effects, Anthony Lathrop, Stefan Lamb, Michael Senchuk, Ken Sayers, Darren Gregory, Excuse me.
Gross.
Yeah, got a goober there. Tom Brazen, Rusty Sneeden, Ralph Gottschalk from Wonderful Audio Technology. What? Don Kloss, Gregory Randall, Brett Hogarth, Eric Hemmer, Stuart George, Michael Furman, James Bell, James Romer, Cameron Pappas, Trevor Ellenberg, Christopher Logan, and John Sebastian. Yes. But wait, Todd, there's more because there's a special group of executive producers. We call them our Grand Poobahs. These fine folks are the creme de la creme, the top of the heap. A number ones. All of them. So special thanks to these Grand Poobahs. Tommy Manasco, Ricardo Iguereda, David Kaminga, Brandon Wound Pickups, Hex Matos, Michio Murakishi, Bob Crouch, Jack Cadian, Sam Jett, Tara Adler, KC Rhines, LSJ Music Company, John Williams, James Pennington, Steve Keys, Cody Foster, Science of Sound, Brian Robison, Jonathan Jerusik from 12th Hour Devices, Corey Nigro, Michael Van Zant, Tim Nowak, Jonathan Daly, Martin Cliff, Sean S. David Poe, Billy Spitfire Unlimited, Congregation Gear Demos, Paul Von Eppinger, Scott Sullivan, Great Lakes Guitar Pickups, Matt Hart, Enrico Fernando, Moon Guitars, Adam Johnson, Eric Edwards, and David Tyndall.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Yes,
I
sir.
thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
I thank you.
We are truly grateful for everyone. If you've been thinking about supporting our show, stop thinking about it and support the show. We would love to have you as part of our ever expanding team.
Yes.
And get you some cool things as well.
Lots
indeed.
of cool
Yes,
things.
Yes. All right. We need to say a ginormous thank you to our pal Roman for swinging in and hanging out with us tonight. Roman, thank you so much for sharing your time and making some fantastic products.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I wanted to do a quick little thing. Like, I have a cue here. I can do like a radio voice.
In a world where guitarists have one desire, to listen to the Guitar Knobs podcast.
I think that was clipping a little bit.
it's okay.
Anyways, that's all I got.
Okay. Yes, I like it. Where can people go to get your things?
Shnobeltone.com.
Perfect. And check him out on Instagram and YouTube and all the places.
Yes, sir.
Tony,
Yes.
where can people find the things that you're doing?
Head over to pickguardian.com. Check out some of the things that I do. Check out, there's stuff you can buy there too. Did you know that?
Yes.
But if you're looking for something special,
Yes.
shoot me an email. Let me know what you're trying to do. I will take very good care of you.
Yep. Get some custom pick guards, some pretty sweet stuff. You can shoot me an email, Todd at theguitarknobs.com. Better yet, you can DM me on Instagram. I'd love to get your messages there. Send us a would you rather. Think you can top Bob Crouch? Oh, I'd like to see you try.
Try it.
And please, on your drive home or your drive to wherever or whatever you're doing, why don't you give a listen to the Valentinos?
Yes.
Got some great rock and roll for you there.
Is the new stuff out yet?
Well, the latest EP's out. We're working on new stuff right now.
Okay, very good.
And check out that Come Closer. That'll
Yes.
get you to the tones we've been talking about. Thank you, Roman. Thank you, Tony. Thank you all. Have a fantastic guitar week and subscribe.
Yes, subscribe, guys.
Tony has got some pretty severe bronchitis, which makes him less fun,
man.
Especially in public.
Yeah, but I am on steroids, so I might rip Todd's face off.
Right.
I can't sleep on him.
I have to tell him to not do the taper thing.
Uh-huh.
You know, and they go like, oh, take 5 pills.
Yeah.
Then take 4. I'm like, no. And this was weird.
'Cause
I
you
told the
can't
doctor,
count?
I said, it affects me. And he says, what do you mean it affects you? And I said, it makes me really agitated. And he goes, like violent? And I was like, whoa. No. In my head, I'm like, yes.
How's my quality? Is it radio friendly?
Oh, yeah.
Sounds
You
good.
sound great.
Okay.
Now, if you
I'm
could do
running
something
through
about
the
Tony,
knee
that'd be
this
great.
time. And really cool thing about Ridgefield that I found out like a couple years ago, it's the birthplace of U-Haul out of all the places.
Hey, I've got an idea.
My station wagon's jammed. Let's create the largest moving franchise in the world.
Hi, you reached the voicemail of Rob Chafe. If you're calling for electronic musical instrument repair, email at info@madcowamplification.com. Again, that's info@madcowamplification.com. Thank you.
Do people not know how to spell info? Well, that was fun.
Got two more.
Without further ado.
And away we go.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.